What is going on, team? Welcome back to another video, and if this is the first one that you've seen of me this year, happy 2023. Now, over the last couple of years, I think the whole flipping world has been pretty over the moon that the previous year had finished. A couple of years of a global pandemic will do that to you, and you'll be happy when January rolls round, because it bears with it the possibility of a better year to come. It's a little bit different this year, I have to say, because 2022, for me at least, was pretty bloody good, actually. And what I want to do today is share with you a couple of the big insights and reflections that I've gleaned during 2022 that I believe are going to help me live a healthier, happier life in 2023 and beyond. Getting straight into it then, beautiful people, I will say the first and the primary insight that I want to share with you, and if you've been following me for a while, this will be a theme that you're probably fairly used to by now, but it is this. You absolutely foundationally have to enjoy the process and the content of your training program and the overall general kind of work that you're doing. Because regardless of how emotionally attached you are to a specific result, if the process itself seems bloody painful and just torturous and laborious and boring or confusing or intimidating or whatever, you're only going to be able to muscle your way through that hatred for so long. We have enough defense mechanisms for us to keep ourselves safe and comfortable that are going to prevent you from engaging in something that you just don't really enjoy doing. And this is even more true for a particular endeavor or pursuit that you don't actually have to be doing, of which training is that for us. Unless it's a court mandate that you have to train for 5 or 6 hours a week, you don't have to be there. And all of these little voices are going to come up to self-justify why it's probably best that you don't go to train, that you don't go to the gym, that you don't go for your run, that you don't do whatever if you don't enjoy the process. I'm not saying if you want to stay fit and healthy, there's an expectation that you're going to enjoy it every day. That's just not the case. I'm saying zoom out of any particular moment and in generalities, do you enjoy the kind of training that you're doing? If the answer is yes, absolutely flipping wicked. If the answer is no, and it's been a concrete no for a while, and even the thought of training at some point later in the day or later in the week just makes you kind of shrivel up and die a little bit inside, then I strongly encourage you to change the way that you're going about it, because the chances are you can get the physique, performance or health result you want through a different type of training that is more enjoyable for you. The second one, which might sound a little bit counterintuitive to the first one, but bear with me for a minute, you're gonna have to keep watching so I can explain and elucidate properly, is this. Do not wait to feel motivated before you start. If you are currently someone who doesn't train that regularly, then I genuinely do empathize, because overcoming that initial inertia from not having exercise or good quality eating or good quality healthy living as part of your day-to-day and week-to-week routine at all, to go from that place to then introducing some form of that is flipping hard. There are no two ways about it. It's that first step of getting moving that is unfortunately incredibly difficult, and that's the main thing that holds people back. But the good news is a lot of the hard work is front loaded, so as soon as you do get into the routine of doing that, you just need to hold on and ensure you muscle your way through for a certain amount of time before it starts to become a little bit more habituated. But I'm begging you, do not wait until you feel motivated before you start something. And at the same time, do not always expect motivation to be there. We are definitely going to kind of oscillate and vacillate between different amounts of enthusiasm, kind of self-led enthusiasm for what we're doing. And the reason I said it's kind of counterintuitive to the first point is this. Not feeling motivated on a particular day because it's grey and rainy outside and we're comfortable on the couch and Netflix is screaming our name is very different from being in a place where you dread the type of workout that you're doing and have done for a couple of months. So it goes without saying, guys, those first 2 points I've shared with you, there's a little bit of rational judgment you've got to use to identify the nuances between the two. I absolutely love the general strength, hypertrophy and conditioning work that I do. I really enjoy my upper, lower conditioning split. So in the macro, I'm a big fan of that, which is why I continue to do it. But at the same time, I absolutely have days when I'm not motivated. And I have days where that little chattering monkey in my mind tells me that I've got a few aches and pains in my knees, or it's cold, or I trained really hard last week, maybe it's better that I have a deload, or blah, blah, blah. And again, human beings, if you're anything like me, finding a position in the grey area is really flipping hard, and dealing with absolutes is easier in the short term. So with that, I also very much encourage you guys to develop the ability to distinguish those voices in your head. Do I generally hate this approach to training, and have I been really disenfranchised with this for a while and wanted to change? Is very different from it's shit and grey outside, I'm gonna stay here because Netflix is screaming my name. It's when you love your approach to training, but you're having a period of time where you don't feel particularly motivated because work's stressful, home is stressful, you're only getting 3 hours a day of sunlight or whatever it may be. That is the hard graft that's truly required to do the good work and get a good result. Anyone can go get a good session after they've just watched Pumping Iron with 400 milligrams of caffeine in their eyeballs. It's when your 10,000 generations of wiring in your brain are telling you to stay in the cave, but you still put your fucking trainers on and go to the gym. Those are the days where you're worthy of a pat on the back. On to insight number 3 then, guys. This is very subjective and phenomenological for me, but I do believe there'll be a huge transfer to most people out there. Give your training some kind of purpose. And with that, I don't just mean an idea of I'd like to look good at some point in this summer. I mean, book an event and put something in the diary. Fitness events can be anything from you're going to go to the CrossFit Games this year to you're going to do your first park run 5K. Something that inspires you now and you've been thinking about for a while and kind of toying with the idea, but it's a little bit kind of uncomfortable, a little bit clunky, a little bit frictiony because it's a tiny bit scary, are probably the 2 perfect signals that would indicate it is the right level of event for you. My go-to favourite for this would be an OCR, would be an obstacle course race. One of the reasons is that it's incredibly non-competitive, unless you're going in the elite wave. But if you're just entering generally and you're getting a ticket, I've never met anyone in my life, regardless of how princessy they are in their day-to-day existence, that has ever done an OCR and said it is anything other than incredibly fun. It's like adult playtime. You don't think you're going to enjoy getting covered in mud and wet, but the second you are covered in mud and wet, which is probably less than 5 minutes in, it is insanely empowering. And again, I have no affiliation with Tough Mudder or Spartan or Nuclear or bloody any of them, but I think it's something that is so enjoyable, and the fact that they've designed them now, especially here in the UK, to be so incredibly accessible, and I'd say the majority, I'd say more than 50% of participants do it as part of a team or in a pair or whatever. These are all the reasons why, honestly, it's kind of my go-to challenge for most people. Failing that, it could be a park run 5K, it could be the CrossFit Open this year, or even more low-key, it could be that you're going on a group hiking holiday this year and you want to be able to make it to the top of the hill without your lungs falling at your face. Whatever it may be, having a purpose for your training, something you need to be in shape for, and having a date in the diary for that just applies the perfect amount of positive pressure to make sure that we squeeze a few more % of effort out for pretty much every session between now and then, because we know it's coming up. And my 4th and final insight of 2022 that I want to share with you guys now, again, a common theme if you've been following my content for a while, make sure you give yourselves a little bit of a window every single week to be creative and playful with the kind of training that you're doing. Again, so I said earlier, I love my upper-lower conditioning split, and an 80% adherence to that rough template is gonna make sure that I get the fitness, physique, health, performance, whatever results that I'm looking for, but giving myself a 20% window every single week where I get to try new things. Maybe that's an extra conditioning session, maybe it's a hike or a cycle with some friends. Maybe a buddy of mine's in town and he literally just wants to do a bro pump session. Whatever it is, I'm a huge advocate of maintaining a certain amount of structure to your training to keep you consistent, to keep you rooted in that particular pursuit and pathway. But to a flipping point, if you are not an Olympian and you have a particular training program and that training program prevents you from going and doing something fun with your friends, you are staying too strict to it, and it is fucking up your life. Like Ryan Fisher used to say, he used to not allow himself to go for a hike or a cycle with friends because he used to think it would mean he'd lose his gains. I'm 34 now, but when I was 21, that was probably how I was feeling. But I can honestly say this, I am happier and enjoying my training more now than I ever have done in my entire life. Hope you did enjoy that, guys, and you did get some value from it. If you did, please do smash that like button. It really does help punt me into the deep, dark waters of the YouTube algorithm and hopefully help me grow as well. And if I could ask 2 very quick favors from you before I go. The first one, if you have not yet done so, please do subscribe. Only takes 2 seconds, and I give you my word, I have the best content I've ever produced coming up over the next 3-4 months. And the second one, if you did enjoy this video, or if you have enjoyed any of my other previous videos, please do go and share them with someone just like you that you believe would get as much value, and maybe even enjoy them as much as you have. Any questions or comments on absolutely anything, guys, please do put it in the comment section down below. And as always, stay strong, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video.